This is Justin Scoop on Thursday, October 9th, 2025. Let's dive into SPX. So on the daily here, we've got another bear day. We have definitely been alternating here. 5 days now, bear, bull, bear, bull, bear. We'll see if tomorrow we get a bull day. That would be fitting. We stayed above the 5 exponential here. We did come back down and got below it and then recovered into the close. So uh, one thing I wanted to point out with a couple of the options that I got pulled up is this move, this bear move here, and this bull move here. So I'm going to zoom back out and show, oops, I'm going to show the options that I have pulled up. So the, obviously the difference is one's at the start of the day, one's at the end of the day. So that one moved from about 2 up to 10 on the 67.25 put. And this one much shallower, not as, this had a much further move than that. But then this one also moved from about 2 up to 10, right at the end of the day. So that's that one. That is that one. And I just thought it was really interesting, kind of the price action that was going on there. So actually what I should have done, I didn't think about this before. I should have actually lined these up. Could I have gotten this sized up just right? So that, there you go. That's right around same price. Pretty close. Okay. For about, oh, it does show. Nice. The cursor is set to match the same price. So it went from about 2 up to about 10. That's cool. Okay. So I can't do that on the 3-minute chart because it's the same 3-minute chart, but I can do it a little differently between the two options. So that's what, I'm not going to restart the video. It would have been really cool if I had that set up. So here's the move from 2 to 10. Here's the move from 2 to 10. That's the bear move that produced this. And then this is the bull move that made that one. That's much cleaner. And you can see they both move from about 2 to 10. I guess it would have been great if it had been $1, buy it $1, sell it 10 or something. That would have been great. But seeing that you could have still bought it too, the next thing is like, okay, well, what would have told you to do that? Maybe the fact that we were gapping up, new all-time high again, and maybe we'd fade. Sure, that's a great reason to be in the put, to buy whatever price it is at a low down here. You could have an open order just sitting there. You could have actually set this up. Let's see. Go back to the cursor. So the low on this candle came down below 2. So you didn't have to have it open already sitting, the order sitting open right at the open. You could have been in the 9th minute of the day, the third 3-minute candle, or in the next candle. So all the way into, probably would have had the order in by minute 9 because it looks like it moved quickly once it got there. But yeah, there wasn't anything saying it was going to retest back to that level. But here's that bull candle. When it's putting in a bull candle and you're looking to go bearish, get in on the bull candle, then you should have a bit of a pullback. And sure enough, we got a pullback on this bear candle here on the option. I'm seeing the same kind of consolidation, some lower highs later on. Now this made some lower lows here and then consolidated over here and kind of did turn up a little bit. So that's some consolidation. It happened a little bit offset from what we looked at, I think 2 days ago. Let's zoom out, look at that. And go up into the 3 minutes. Yeah, so actually one more day here. So no, now I'm seeing it more. Just a second here. Okay. That's really interesting. Okay, now that I'm actually zoomed out looking at that, I'm seeing this consolidation. This is the one I was talking about 2 days ago. We did something kind of similar. We did a little bit of that, and then I think we did another little one there. We did one over here. I don't really exactly see one here, not like consolidating the same. This one is, I remember this day. It's not really getting tighter. It was here, but it was still going down. So I don't really see the funneling. This one jumps out at me. Um, you could argue there's one here. So I'm trying to see, is there one here? I don't think that's one because that was still going down. So what's really interesting now is um, on the days that we've had a bear day now. So this is a bear day, and this is a bear day, and this is a bear day. Those are the days that we've had um, some consolidation. We've had a bigger bear move and then consolidation. Bear move, consolidation, bear move, consolidation. And then what happens after it consolidates? We get a bull move. So this one was right at the end of the day. So we gapped up, retested, and then continued up. This one, we gapped up a little bit. Actually, we started to move up, but we gapped up a little bit, retested, went up. And then today, we just started to go. So if what we started today was a move back up, and these all start with the move up and then retest, then go up, tomorrow we should see a retest and go back up if it's keeping with that same format. Um, I mean, it totally could. So that I think is what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. So what could we do to play that? If we gap up, we don't have to open right here. We could actually be up higher, sell down. If we sell down, we might get a little more consolidation and then go. Um, Probably 67.50 call would be a good call to keep an eye on. Um, how did that, how would that have moved yesterday? Let's see. So if I zoom back into, so it was really the open price of yesterday. How did we move into the 67.50 call? Let's look at today's. So we moved like that yesterday. Let's go back to yesterday's. It was the 8th and 67.50. And so we did have that pullback at open, and then we rallied out of that. So now this one came down between almost to a dollar, but it was between a dollar and two. It had some of that pulling back, so it opened up above two, came down below two. There's too much of a range here. You couldn't have gotten in for a dollar risk and done absolute zero, so that wouldn't have worked. Um, I was like looking at the pre-market and options. It's just SPX is the only one that I know of that you can really like. Well, I'm sure there's other ones, but this one, SPX doesn't trade outside of market open hours, normal day hours. What am I trying to say? When the market's open, that's the only time SPX is trading, but somehow the options can trade outside of that. That's what I don't understand. Anyway, so this pulled back and then went up. It pulled back below a pre-market level. So we could look for that tomorrow with, let's say, 1010, 67.50 call. So what would that look like? I don't have, let me see if I can change this real quick. Settings, time, I can add more time. Can I just turn off how much time does it have to be set? If I do 200, 500. There you go. Now I can play with that. Okay, now I've got more blank space to the right. Okay, so if we kind of take that same, and this is completely speculating, but if pre-market were doing that same sort of consolidating, oops, didn't mean to go into the day. If we're doing some chopping around pre-market and moving all over the place, and then we open, let's say we open and we end up gapping up some. That might be too high. Well, this price is already higher. That's much higher for tomorrow's. So this is the low here is 5.2. So it'd have to come down back down quite a bit to be a dollar. So I mean, this option was pretty expensive earlier, only went down to five, and then more. I'm just gonna say more than doubled, but that was only after hours. So I don't know how that actually works. Five up to like eight, or six up to eight. So that wasn't too much of a move. So I guess yeah, if we're gonna chop and have some sideways action, I would want to see this pull back. I want to see SPX have some bear candles. I want to see that pull back into a more reasonable price to do absolute zero. So that'd be buying at a dollar, or have a really good setup to buy at say two and a stop at one. If it can kind of stay range bound there, it can bounce around in there. And then I may, even if it's in that whole range between like 1.25 and 2.5, I might still try and get an entry at like 1.5, get the lower end of that. Maybe, I'm just saying what I could do. This is not recommendations by any means for what you should do. You're the one responsible to click the buttons for yourself. So the really hard thing to do with this is just realizing how big of a day and overnight is. So right now, it's late. It's like 11:30 Central Time. So there's options trading here somehow. Um, so even value, there's two. So that's at like over $8. So it would really have to move down quite a bit more to be in a price range that I would want to consider doing something with this. Um, this probably means that at some point after hours, futures were up, maybe kind of flat. We may need to go out to another option further out, but if there's premium here and this expires tomorrow, it might suggest that the market makers are keeping some premium baked into it so that they can see if it's going to go there or they know it's going to. I don't know. I'm not a market maker. So let's go back to this. No, let's go back to the daily. If we do have a bull candle, yesterday or today we opened 67.64. No, that was the high. What was the open? The open was 67.60. So if we open there, or if we move there, we're $10 in the money, 10 points in the money for the 67.50 call that I'm talking about. There's going to be premium there. That's kind of what is priced in now. If it were to close right here, it's nearly expecting it to be, like, well, it's not. There's extrinsic value on this. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is there's premium there because it's not that far to go, especially because we already were in the money of that price today. So could it get back there? Very well could get there, especially if we get a bull candle. In which case, I may want to be a little further away to get the option a little cheaper. So let's go look at 10 points further out. So 10 points further out, this has a low of 3. I'm more comfortable with that. Now, if we can get into that low price, and if we can consolidate from like 6 to 3, and then we take out the 3 and go down to like, say, 2, and if we can get into this range, we can hold in here. Yeah, but I would try to buy at like 150. Where is 150? Oh, 150 is way down here. Half of that price, and then look for an opportunity to get out on a move back up to like 5 or 6 or something. I'm drawing these way off. 6. So just drew it in at like 8. So anyway, that'd be a great trade. And then look to do it again because it should, if it's moving that way, it should pull back and then keep going. So, reload on that S curve. Maybe the same option, maybe go out another $5, 5 points to the next strike, something like that. Because this low might actually on a different option might actually come back down to relatively the same amount for that low on a further out of the money strike. So um, I think as long as we're moving bullish tomorrow, coming out of this consolidation, I think that's what I'll be looking for tomorrow. Now, if we do something completely different and we have, another bear candle, if we pull back further, then, that would not be the script. That would not be the plan for tomorrow. So being able to be aware of what levels there are going on, and we'll see if we continue to alternate bearish and bullish candles, or if we'll do something different, like break down, or still go sideways and just put in a bear candle. Tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow's a normal day. I think Monday is a holiday. I don't know if there'll be any extra selling going into a Friday ahead of Columbus Day. Um, I have no idea. I haven't looked back at previous years to see what happens ahead of Columbus Day, but it's not like Thanksgiving or Christmas in the United States. So there you go. We'll have to wait and see. Hope this helps. This is Justin. Thanks.